what are injuries you're seeing a lot of right now?
And recognizing that our whole body is one kinetic chain, the center of it is our back.
How do you know when it's back pain from a specific area or when it's like lack of core strength or trunk stability?
So many variables.
Yeah.
But core is one thing that I feel like not many people know how to use.
Yeah, that's true.
And is a big driver of many types of pains. These are not, it's not a quick fix at all. And if anyone tells you that there is one exercise that fixes X pain, don't listen to them because they're lying.
That's another Instagram trending reel. Tayla is here with us today. So excited to have you. We met very briefly at the track. I actually remember this, and I don't know if you do, but you introduced yourself. I immediately heard your accent, and I was like, oh my gosh, Tayla, that's such a cool name. And you're like, oh, that's so funny. Like it's all, everybody in Australia has this name, but like everyone in the US is like, oh, that's such a unique name. And I was like, I'll always remember that. I was like, oh
my gosh, I need to stop responding that way then. Well, so I get that all the time.
I'm sure you do.
All the time.
Because it's cool.
But it blows my mind because it's not unique at all, like back home. And I think it's our accents too, because we have, like I'm Tayla, T-A-Y-L-A.
Yeah.
Then there's T-A-Y-L-O-R or A-H. All of it's Taylor in Australia.
So Taylor would be pronounced
Taylor.
The same way.
We'd still say Taylor.
Oh,
because we don't say
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying ever, I'm saying ever.
Yeah, I love it just makes it a little bit more sassier, I think, right?
Yeah, just unknowingly.
But I guess it's probably like the same as being like, well, my name's Tara, but like there's so many Sarahs or Julies or like and you're like, oh, it's this whatever.
See, I would
it's
say
normal.
Tara. We don't say Tara.
Tara?
Yeah, Tara.
Yeah, we don't do that. Well, I mean, a lot of girls do that, but I don't personally. It's either Tara or Tara.
Oh, that's a weird pronunciation for me. Okay, I'll work on that.
Can you say Tara?
Tara?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tara?
Yeah. That works too.
Okay.
But like on the East Coast, you'd say more like Tara.
Tara.
Well, it's like, it's Tara.
Because you've got your R's, I don't know how to
Yeah. I'm originally from New Jersey and New York. And so like you'd say that, but then moved to Colorado and it was like, I don't know how to say that. So it was just Tara. That was easier.
I'm only just starting to learn that there's actually different accents within America now too.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah. I came here and it was the Southern, like the deep, thick accents of the South. And then there was American. I didn't know how to differentiate anything beyond the Southern accent.
Oh, interesting.
And now I'm like getting a glimpse of yours. I'm like, I think I get that now. Like the Northeast.
Yeah.
That's a sound as well.
Well, because then you're also like, there's like the Boston, but then there's New Jersey and New York. There's a bunch of different
going to pick them. They're all the same to me.
You know, you've only been here a year. Is that what you said?
3 years in America, 1 year in Austin.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So in Australia, do they have different accents though around the country?
No, we all sound the same.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that could be debatable. I would say Perth, the other side. So I'm from the East Coast. That's the West Coast.
Yeah.
Apparently, they have a thicker accent.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it wouldn't be something you'd pick up on though.
Okay. What brought you to America? Why are you here?
This unexplainable desire to want to work and live in America.
Okay.
It's one of those things where I wouldn't say Australia is very pro-America in the sense that that's where everyone wants to go. Like Europe is where everyone wants to go in Australia. So when I started with the idea of, I think I'm going to move to America, everyone's like, why would you do that?
Really?
Yeah. And truthfully, they kind of tried to get me to go anywhere else but here. And it was just one of these unexplainable things. I'd always like grown up thinking, damn, America's really cool. And it's so different to home as well.
Yeah.
That I think I just got it stuck in my head that I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Because I knew that I didn't want to be in the town that I was from a very small town.
Okay.
And I knew that the life that I would have had there isn't the life that I wanted for myself. So I wanted to move. And typically if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it big.
Yeah.
So it's like, why move 3 hours away if I can just move to the other side of the world?
Yeah, so far.
I just did and didn't know anyone. Best decision I've ever made in my life.
Yeah.
And incredible things have come from it. But life is a whole lot less scary once you do a big jump like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so big. It's like the biggest jump you could potentially make, right? Yeah. Everyone still is back home then, right?
Everyone, yeah.
So it's, what is that, 15, 16-hour difference?
18.
Oh, it's 18.
18.
Okay.
So typically they have just went to sleep when I'm waking up.
Okay.
And they're waking up around about now afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has that been? Just like with family, friend, just the dynamic of all that?
I mean, I love my family and friends. I have incredible community back home.
Yeah.
But I think there's this like knowing that I am where I'm supposed to be makes it a whole lot easier. Like, I miss the people. I don't necessarily miss the place. I miss the beach.
Yeah.
I miss the beach so much.
Yeah.
A lot. But yeah, weirdly enough, I haven't had those cliche moments of homesickness, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's too, I think moving here and recognizing the freedom that it then gave me to be like, wow, I am in control of this life and I truly can make this life however I want it to be.
Yeah.
I know that if I am homesick, I can just go home.
Yeah.
And knowing that that's an option then makes life so much easier.
Have you been back home since you've been here a couple times?
Twice, yeah.
Just 2 times?
Typically Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going back this year?
Yeah.
Nice. Has anyone visited you out here?
Yeah, mom and dad have come twice. My sister has come. And a few of my best friends have come as well, which I'm really lucky for them to have done. I mean, that's a long haul.
It is.
So, I mean, that in and of itself, I'm like, damn, I'm lucky. Friends that are willing to do that.
Talk to me about how you grew up then. Are you a big traveler growing up or like?
I wouldn't. I mean, so for us in Australia, we probably look at travel a little differently.
Yeah.
Because to me, an 8-hour flight is quick. Because we are so far away from the rest of the world.
Right.
For us to go anywhere that isn't Australia. And Australia is incredibly beautiful, but everywhere looks the same. It's not like America where every state is like a different country. Yeah. So for us to experience something different, we need to leave the country. And for us to go internationally, we're typically looking at like a 7-8 hour flight, which is a quick flight back home.
Yeah.
So it'd be very normal for us to then travel to, let's say, Europe, which is a long haul. That's probably like a 15-hour travel. But again, that's quite normal to us. So it's very normal to travel as an Australian. I wouldn't say I was a big traveler. I mean, compare it to someone else, maybe I was. I've probably seen a lot of the world.
Okay, yeah.
But I wouldn't say that was like my big passion and I was going around traveling the world.
Had you been to America before you moved here?
I had when I was really young with my family. A lot of my travel was in Indonesia and Europe prior to moving here.
I feel like everyone in Australia just goes to Bali.
Like, oh, yeah.
All
love
I
that
hear
place.
is like...
Honestly, that's sitting in the back of my mind now. I'm like, maybe I could do 6 months in Bali.
Yeah. You know, and I've been to Bali one time and I was like, I loved it. And I've been a lot of really insane places. Yeah. I'm very, very grateful for that. Bali's still like one of my top.
You're a cultured American, right?
I will say, like, I just crossed like 35 countries this summer.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
Bali's still like one of my favorites. I love it so much.
And you can live like a queen there too.
I know. Yeah. It's anywhere in Asia, really. It feels like that. So,
right. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
We do love Bali.
So you moved to America. You moved to Dallas first.
Yep.
And then now you're in Austin. What moved you to Austin from Dallas?
So I originally moved to Dallas. Dallas was very, very, very different to anything I've ever experienced in my life. Yeah. As you can imagine, coming from Australia, beach town, small town, to what I thought I was moving. I thought I was moving to something where I'd be seeing horses, cowboys, guns. And then I moved to this big city and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Yeah. So I actually hadn't been to Dallas.
Why Dallas then?
At the time, it was a job opportunity that sounded too good to be true. So I was like, oh, let's just go do Dallas and see what it's all about. Yeah. But I think how different the city was compared to what I'm used to made it such a cool experience. And I think that's what made the homesickness not very prevalent, because I was experiencing this really new and exciting life that I hadn't experienced before. But in saying that, what I really missed was like the outdoorsy fit lifestyle that I had back home. So I actually then moved to San Diego. I did San Diego for a good 6 months. And I got there and I was like, you know what? If I really wanted this life, I've got it far better in Australia. Yeah. So why would I stay here when I can go back home and be with my family and friends? But I knew that that's not what I was desiring. So I think my biggest desire in moving here was career. And not that the American dream was something I was coming here for, but it's something I've very much come to see and appreciate and experience, that I wanted to be around people that appreciated that as well. And I found that Austin was that happy medium of entrepreneurial, but also outdoorsy, fit, casual. Unlike Dallas. Dallas is very... I never wore nails until I went to Dallas.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I ended up in Austin. I love it.
But you didn't get that from San Diego.
No.
And you felt like it was very similar to home.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, San Diego definitely has it. And I made incredible community there all through the fitness world too. Yeah. But I think I'd say the biggest driver of leaving there was the fact that Australia was better. So I was like, if I want this life, I may as well go back. But I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
So let's go somewhere different.
Did you know anyone here in Austin before you moved here?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were just
didn't
like,
really know
this
anyone.
is the one on the map. I'm going to go here next.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I was debating between here and New York. So I was
Okay.
like,
Very
maybe
different.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I picked Austin. Too much stimulation in that city.
Yeah. Okay. So you've been here a year or so.
Yep.
Okay. And obviously have a fitness background.
Yes.
So, and which is what we'll get into next.
Yeah.
But how did you get into fitness? How did you get into what you're doing now?
Mm. I would say I've been like a religious gym goer since I was like 14. And I think initially it was just something that I think I was having really bad problems sleeping actually. And I remember the help that I was getting was like, you should go to the gym. Because I remember saying, oh, yeah, I actually feel good on the days that I go to the gym. So that kind of got me stepping foot into a gym. And
Mhm.
then I ended up just falling in love with it and then falling into a community who that was the center point of their lives as well. So from there, I probably just quote unquote trained for 5 years until I then wanted to become a fitness trainer, personal trainer, and then stepped into a world where all of my friends were personal trainers,
Yeah.
running gyms, owning gyms. So that was the world that I lived in. It was very much, if I'm going to hang out with a friend, we're going to go to the gym and then we're going to
Mhm.
go to the beach.
Yeah.
And then through that, I was actually studying biomedical science at the time, majoring in advanced medical research. Did that, started working with a bunch of PhD students and thought, damn, is this really what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? It was not what I expected in the sense that I loved what I learnt, but I'm a very big people person. And I found that that world, people couldn't even look me in the eyes. So I was like, I don't like this. So I actually was going to go to medicine. And in the interim, I thought, well, I'm in this fitness era right now. Let's go into physical therapy or physiotherapy, what we call it back home,
Mhm.
as like the interim as I try to get into medicine. And then I ended up absolutely loving it and thought, well, let's see this through. And yeah, fast forward to finishing physiotherapy, I then moved to America to work in spinal cord injuries, of all things. Totally not what was planned.
Yeah.
Ended up having a pretty bad experience, not with the profession or not with the specialty itself, but rather the business that I moved here for, and ended up leaving that entirely. And I had stepped back into research, working in cardiology. But during that time, I was like, damn, I miss being a physio. And I have so much in my brain right now that I need to get it out. So I was like, why don't I create an online physiotherapy company? And given it's online, I guess I'll just start posting everything that's in my brain as a way to get it out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what took off recently. And now, yeah, I'm like an online rehab coach, is what I'd call myself, to which I treat people internationally for persistent pain.
Okay. So you only work online at this point. Do you do
Yep.
anything in person?
Nope.
Do you feel like it's hard to do it online versus in person? Harder to get the point across, be able to understand people's bodies?
Question that everybody asks. They're like, wait, how do you do this online? Aren't you
Yeah.
supposed to like massage people and stuff?
Well,
Yeah, right. So I would say the clientele that I work with specifically people that, like you and I, have been in the gym for
Yeah.
many, many years. They
Okay.
know their bodies, they do move well, but they're suffering with pain that just does not go away.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I think the beauty of treating pain as a whole is that it doesn't necessarily result from one thing, but rather encompasses so many things: lifestyle, training, stress, diet, work, sleep. Those things are typically not addressed in your 1 hour appointment with a physical therapist. 1 hour appointment with a physical therapist, typically get on the table, let's massage you, let's dry needle you, let's get you doing 3 different exercises, go home, do it, come back. And you're typically doing those exercises for what? A few months, and then nothing really gets better. Maybe it does, great.
Yeah.
And then you move on. Whereas the beauty of working online is you're not confined to a 1 hour appointment, and you're not confined to having to rush through the time that you spend with them to work out what's going on, but rather get to the root cause of not just their pain, but understand their lifestyle, their training, get full control over all of the factors to then get them out of pain. So I guess in answer to your question, no, because of the clientele that I see, but also no, because the way in which I'm treating pain is not just the way in which they move.
Are you just doing this one-on-one, or do you have, I know you have a group program too, but
Yeah, so right now I'm just doing this one-on-one,
okay.
but obviously to take on more people demands more time from me.
Of course.
So what I've recently done is I've recognized this hole in the system, basically, in the sense that there's this missing piece between training and physical therapy. And no one's really bridging that gap well. And I've found that this online model works really well. But I can only take so many people.
Yeah.
So I just trained 250 physical therapists.
Wow.
And I'm building the first online HIPAA compliant platform for PTs to work entirely online. So they're going to get on and obviously be able to help more people.
Right.
And then, yeah, the vision is that this is like the platform for PTs to work online and allow people to get good care anywhere, wherever they are in the world.
What is the difference between that? I went to physical therapy recently for plantar fasciitis and then some heel issue. I feel like it's always my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually saw your post the other day about like muscles you need to be training is like soleus calf muscle. Like,
yep.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of runners.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what is the difference, I guess, between that, like involving it in your training program and just getting the exercises and doing them on your own, like you were mentioning, like what PTs do now?
Yeah, so I think what PTs do is the in-person setting, they'll identify your deficits and they'll give you those specific movements. But the missing piece in that is a lot of the time, particularly for people like you and I when we're injured, the problem actually lies in our training program.
Right.
So until we get control of that, it's kind of redundant just doing all these little exercises when the problem is actually elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I think getting control of that is where I'm seeing really big outcomes. And that's why it works for like the people like you and I.
So you work with more, you say you and I'm like an athlete or what?
I mean, like, can I compare myself to you? Like, am I talking myself up now?
I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely intermediate to advanced. So, okay. Let's take it this way. What are injuries you're seeing a lot of right now?
Back pain.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Back pain. I think we live in this world where back pain is so prevalent, and we're in this space where we've almost normalized it now too. It's normal to have a sore back, and it's normal to be like, oh, well, I'm just getting old.
Yes, God, that irks me.
The minute I hear that, I'm like, you know how I feel about that, and if you don't know how I feel about it, don't say that again. Because that's an excuse.
Exactly.
It truly is an excuse. But I would say back pain is the most prevalent thing that I'm seeing. And I think that is because my belief in pain is that the whole body is one kinetic chain. Everything is connected head to toe. So just because someone may have knee pain doesn't mean that it's maybe stemming from their spine, from their hips, from their ankle. And recognizing that our whole body is one kinetic chain, the center of it is our back.
Yeah.
And everything is we're transferring force up and down on a daily basis. That's the center point. I think that's the center point that if there's dysfunction there, we see dysfunction elsewhere. And that's just what people are experiencing right now.
So as you're mentioning this, I'm like, okay, well, if I have back pain, like where do I know where it's coming from? How do people have that body awareness to like figure out what that is?
That's where a physical therapist comes in.
Well, okay. That's where you joined.
That's where we studied for years.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, and in saying that too, right now I'm trying to conceptualize how can I come up with a way which keeps people working within their scopes.
Of course.
To help them identify this themselves, because this is something that I think so many people are very well aware of their body, that if they were given the tools to work out exactly where things are going wrong, they could manage this far better. But for me, like anyone with back pain, I do a full body assessment. So I'm talking every joint, I'm assessing your mobility, every muscle, I'm assessing unilateral strength left to right. And I'm doing a full body movement screen as well. Yeah. So it's taking into consideration everything I find in that, taking into consideration everything I find through conversation, that being ongoing dialogue for a whole lot of time, taking into consideration your lifestyle and your training, then helps me to hypothesize what may be contributing.
And even then, too, it's a lot of like trial and error to figure out what that is, right?
Yeah.
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 What would you say then? I mean, I'm thinking of this for the most part, if people hear that, they're like, oh, that feels like a long time. Like, I don't want to put in all this time. And it's like, my back pain's still there. Nothing worked. Like, what would you say to people that like are dealing with something like this and that like need to take the time to figure it out, but maybe don't know how or don't want to?
I would say, and speaking specifically to chronic or persistent pains, something that isn't just acute, it's appeared.
Right.
If something that's been ongoing for, let's say, 3+ months.
Yeah.
Anything that has been in pain for that amount of time demands consistency and frequency.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we are too quick to quit and that we are the reason that we are not getting better. It's not a quick fix at all. And if anyone tells you that there is one exercise that fixes X pain, don't listen to them because they're lying.
That's another Instagram trending reel. This one exercise will fix your back pain forever.
I see it all the time and it frustrates me so much because people fall for it too.
They do.
And then people come to me and they're like, well, I did see this. And I'm like, Hun, you're sleeping 3 hours a night. You're
Yeah.
highly stressed. Your program is ridiculous. That one exercise is going to do shit all for you.
Yeah.
But what I would say to people, back to your question, is frequency and consistency is key to the game. And I say persistent pain, you need a minimum 6 months of consistency. Now, that's not to say that a few weeks in, you could see incredible changes. I mean, I had one girl who had persistent hip pain, chronic hip pain, left-sided, for I'd say 6 years. 2 weeks in, she was pain-free.
Wow.
That's not normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it can happen.
Yeah.
I typically say to everybody, expect to see changes within 3 months.
Yeah.
And expect to get yourself back to things that you want to be doing in, let's say, 6. But again, we don't work linearly. And that's not how all of our bodies work. But generically speaking, yeah.
How do you know when it's back pain from a specific area or when it's like lack of core strength or trunk stability?
So many variables.
Yeah.
And I would say there's never one specific thing. So it's never that I have someone with back pain and it's just because they have a weak core.
Right.
But core is one thing that I feel like not many people know how to use.
Yeah, that's true.
And is a big driver of many types of pains, but there's typically a lot of other things going on as well. I would say core and hip stability are two big factors to back pain that a lot of people don't have.
Okay, let's talk about that. So first and foremost is core. Like people think of the normal crunches, V-ups, whatever. Let's even throw out in like an axe chop or a cable chop or something like that.
Yeah.
Core.
Yeah.
What would you consider to be really great core movements that everyone should be able to perform like in a good way for them?
Well, I think to answer that first, we need to address what the core is.
Yeah.
Because I think people hear core and they think, oh, abs, six-pack.
Yeah.
Rectus abdominis is what they're thinking of. The core is 360. It's all encompassing. It is not just the front of us, it's the side of us, it's the back of us, it's the bottom of our ribs, it's our pelvic floor. There are so many components to it. And to appropriately use our core, we need to learn to co-contract all of it at once.
Right.
Crunching, we're not co-contracting all the things. V-ups, we're not co-contracting all the things. So I think first understanding that it is a 360, what I like to call a canister, to which we need to learn how to condense, contract, and relax all at once. Once we know how to do that, any exercise is a good exercise. I think, and my friend actually said this the other day, and I was like, genius. Core isn't an exercise, it's an execution.
Ooh, I love that.
Know how to execute it. Any exercise is then a core exercise.
Yeah.
But I would say, to answer your question, to give you like objective things, the first exercise that I typically give to people when it comes to understanding awareness and contracting and just stabilizing would be a quadruped hover. So getting into like a bear crawl position, finding neutral, and then just hovering the knees and holding. And then from there, I like to take it into standing, because there we kind of have gravity we're working against. And then in standing, we're increasing that impact of gravity. Holding a weight at our chest, some sort of goblet position, and then just standing march. And again, these seem to be very simple movements. You know, everyone wants the big, difficult, hard stuff. And these look very simple, very easy. And again, can be done wrong because they seem so easy. But I'd say the purpose of that standing one is holding something at your chest then reinforces that top half position, bringing the ribs down and positioning them well. Then the march then engages that TVA pelvic floor and helps us to combine both the things. And then from there, I then like to look at things like wood chops. Love that. So pro rotation.
Yeah.
Anything that actually gets our core moving is so good for us too, because we also get stuck in this core stability era that everyone forgets that the core also moves and functions like every other muscle in the body too. Yeah. So combining the two would be, some
I love
exercises.
That. I always say like my favorite core exercise is the goblet squat.
Yes.
Like that's like one of my absolute favorites.
I back that 100%.
And people are like, what about this? And what about that? And I was like, nope, I feel my core lit up the next day when I'm doing this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And that is because you have that load at the front that's positioning your ribs down. And as you're descending into the squat, you're engaging TVA, pelvic floor, and everything's coming on at once.
So I love the way you broke that down into like the hovering tabletop or beast pose. And then we're on our feet and we're standing, we're holding the weight. If somebody can't even find it in like that hover tabletop position, what could we cue potentially there?
If they can't find it in that position, I typically get them on their back.
Okay.
And I typically find what people struggle with most is TVA, transverse abdominis. That's the lower portion that sits around where our pelvic floor is. So engaging pelvic floor and TVA, and think of it as the base of that canister. Yeah. A lot of us know how to bring the bottom down because we crunch all the time. Yeah. A lot of us struggle to bring the bottom up.
Yeah.
So what I typically say to people, and the cue that works best for females, because we get this, is imagine you're putting on a really tight pair of jeans. You know, when you get to the top and you've really got to suck it in to get the zip up and the button, and you feel that lower part of your belly suddenly tighten and lift, that's the engagement that I want you to feel when you're in these positions that I get you into.
Yeah.
And typically when I give them that cue, they're like, oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
And then it happens. But again, it's lots of little cues to then bring this one movement. You know, it's not just a one and done type situation. It takes time.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I was like, I remember like skinny jeans. I don't know how old you are, but I'm like, oh, millennial times. But now it's like the biggest, most barely wide jeans. And I'm like, this is awesome. Like,
I don't know.
It's not hard to get those on.
Yeah, what these tight jeans feel like anymore, but I do remember them from back in the day.
Yeah. Low rise, really tight. I'm like, why did we do that for so long?
I know. Like real low too. I'm like, damn.
So core, and you said hip stability. So I want to talk about that and like how people can, you know, really find that.
Yes. Hip stability, something that a lot of us lack. And I think that comes into general gym programming. We live in a world where we all love to squat, deadlift, lunge. Everything's in the sagittal plane.
Right.
Forward and back, up and down.
Yeah.
It's how we all move because for so long we've all trained for aesthetics.
Yeah.
That's been the big thing in the fitness world is training makes us look a certain way. So we're going to train a way to which builds hypertrophy. But training that way only trains you in one plane of motion. There's 3.
Mm-hmm.
That is then when we start to see things like hip stability come into play or lack of. Because we're only moving forward and back. We're not challenging ourselves side to side or rotationally.
Right.
Hip stability is so important in just about everything in life. Mm-hmm. So it's only really a matter of time that if you have really weak hip stabilizers, that typically some injury is going to present itself. And again, that comes back to whole body is a kinetic chain. If we have some sort of deficit or weakness, it then disrupts the transfer of force. Something then has to step in and go, oh, well, that's not working, so I'll have to pick up the slack until that then goes, I'm kind of too tired of doing this. When something's too tired of doing something, it then alerts the body and says, I'm in pain.
So what could we do for hip stability specifically?
Unilateral work.
Okay.
Start simple, Bulgarian split squats. Love them. Lunges, if we want to really
say that, because I love Bulgarians too, but everyone's like, these are the worst exercise ever.
Because they're hard because they don't have stable hips.
Fair. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Tayla, you basically are telling everyone that you don't like it because you're not good at it and they're hard.
Right, exactly. So let's fix it.
Exactly.
But I would say too, hip stability isn't just learning to stabilize on one leg, but it's also learning to stabilize in the frontal plane as well. So let's think side planks, super basic, great way to start working your abductors.
Yeah.
Copenhagen's. Please, everybody needs to start training their adductors. They are like our groin, that if anyone doesn't know, adductors, ADD.
Yeah.
Groin is so important in stabilizing the pelvis as well. Because the pelvis isn't just held front to back, but also side to side. That being abductors, adductors, 2 things that we don't typically train.
Right.
Side planks, abductors, Copenhagen's, adductors are great additions to any program. It's really going to help build that foundation in helping your hip stability.
Yeah. Copenhagen, one of the worst exercises ever.
I would agree, actually. They're really hard.
That's like one that I'm like, okay, thanks for agreeing on that. Copenhagen and Zercher squats. Those are my 2 least.
I tried Zerchers the other day after not having done them in a long time. I'm like, this hurts.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you don't know, Copenhagen is where you're in a side plank, your foot is on some sort of elevated surface, right? And then the other foot is below and you're trying to basically lift it up to the opposite foot.
Correct.
I'm like, it's hard to explain without visually seeing it.
So it's like the top leg is the one that's stabilizing on the bench. So then you're feeling the inside of your leg working versus on a side plank, you're feeling the outside of your leg, of the bottom leg working.
Exactly. And then a Zercher squat, and in case you guys are listening, you have the barbell in your basically the elbows, the armpits of your elbows. And it's like a goblet squat, but like way harder because you obviously have a little bit more weight and it's a barbell and you're holding it and it's just hard. It's just a pain in the ass. Okay. So we've got hip stability and core work. You mentioned single leg exercises and also some lateral. My first thought is like a lateral lunge or a skater or something like that. Any other movement that you could suggest there? Yeah.
So lateral movement, side plank and Copenhagen's would fall into that. In addition to that, lateral lunges. I love like a lateral step down, lateral curtsy step down. Up on a bench.
Yeah.
Stepping down. One leg comes down and behind.
Okay.
Lateral sled drag. I was doing them today. They feel great.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
So many ways that we can move laterally, but because we don't frequently see it,
Yeah.
a lot of us don't know it.
Yeah.
We do what we see, and what we see
Of course.
is forward and back, up and down.
Yeah.
So a lot of time it takes being a little creative
Yeah.
to come up with some of these things. But yeah, I would say a great staple to add would just be, instead of stepping up to a box, step up from the side. Really easy, simple change, and maybe you are already doing step up, so that's a quick change.
Yeah.
Copenhagen, I'm going to say, are an essential side planks. And then, yeah, lateral lunges too, great additions.
Okay. When, like, if somebody's hearing this and like, oh, well, she's saying I need to do this, 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 and this, like, how could you potentially add some other things into your training program that would, benefit your overall body so you can mitigate injuries?
I like to look at programs by plane of motion.
Yeah.
So I know people like to look at it by muscle group, by, there's so many different ways you can look at a session, but I like to look at any session and look at plane of motion. Am I hitting every plane of motion in every single session?
Of course.
So am I hitting sagittal plane? Am I hitting frontal plane? Am I hitting transverse? If I am, fantastic. And you'll find if you look at your program, generically speaking, you'll see a lot of sagittal plane.
Right.
So to add in these additional things that are going to help things like hip stability is typically going to involve frontal or transverse plane. So adding in anything that falls into those into sessions.
Okay. We've been talking a lot about upper body or lower body in core. So let's talk about upper body. What do you feel like is missing in a lot of training protocols or programs on the upper body side?
I would say back to the plane of motion thing. Okay. Exact same, like we're doing a whole lot of one, not enough of the other. But I would say to upper body, so much pressing, not enough pulling. And that's where, like, the amount of people that I see with that anterior shoulder pain, you see it with guys particularly because they're doing barbell bench press into dumbbell flies. Yeah. I'm like, you're doing the same thing over and over and over. No wonder that shoulder is sore. Right. So I'd say too much pressing, not enough pulling, not enough rotation either. Not much happening. I mean, the shoulder is a very, very rotational joint to which we do not train as such at all. I would also say rotation at the spine, again, kind of falls back into what we were speaking about before, but nobody is moving the spine as we're training our upper body. So you'll see a lot of strict movement to which, let's say we're doing a split kneeling cable pull down. Everyone's keeping that torso facing forward and it's a very strict row. Nobody's actually allowing that thoracic spine to move. Yeah. I'm finding that's not done enough. If it were done more, perhaps we'd see less injury. Yeah. I would say, yeah, they're the main things. Actually, no, another thing, scapular control.
I thought you'd say that.
I think a lot of us think about our shoulders and forget that our shoulder blade is a big driver of all the movement at the shoulder, but nobody actually has the awareness to move it. We live in a world where everyone says, pull your shoulder blades back and down, and that's the cue that we always use, but no one thinks about pulling them up and forward. And then that's when we start to see things like the classic not in the shoulder blade. Because we're living in this constantly retracted position and it's a muscle that's built to move, but we're not moving it. So allowing your scapula to move with your any upper body movement, I think is really important too.
And so you mentioned a couple of them where maybe you'd rotate in like a kneeling row or something like that. Where else could we add some of that movement in the shoulder?
I love I'm going straight to these advanced movements that would sound ridiculous to explain.
Yeah, what about like an intermediate or beginner?
An intermediate movement. I would say anything where we're rowing with a cable, I like to be adding in some sort of rotation.
Cool.
I love a Turkish get-up.
Love them.
Demanding rotation both at the spine and the shoulder. Yeah. And it's so many different planes of direction as well. So I'd say Turkish get-ups are fantastic additions. Again, something that a lot of people don't like.
Of course.
But a great way to integrate that. Rowing, adding in rotation, even like a dumbbell row. Yeah. Love to add in rotation with that as well.
Okay.
And then too, I think a lot of the spinal rotation comes in when we're looking at core too. So wood chops, cable, high to lows, low to highs. Yeah. Palloffs into rotation.
It's interesting you say the spinal rotation. I've also seen you do some stuff with medicine ball where you're actually actively like, bending at the hips and like finding that, for lack of a better term, like crunch in the spine. Why are people so afraid of that?
Everybody's afraid of moving the spine. I think we live in this world that has been, I think it comes from disc injuries. Yeah. Right now have this stigma of being terrible. Everyone fears having a herniated disc.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, there was this error to which evidence came out to support the neutral spine being the way in which we treat. And it does make a difference to a certain population. I would agree with that. But what happened with that era is that people have then taken that and applied that to daily life and thought that's the only way that they can move. So now the introduction of no, we do need to move our spine is a very terrifying thing, because for the past 20 years, a lot of evidence has pointed to no, we need to keep a neutral spine. But then back to the disc herniation thing too, a lot of people are told, because when someone does herniate a disc, movement is painful in all directions.
Yeah.
So naturally, anything that is painful is typically fear-driven. So to avoid being in fear, we just stay still. So there's all this past and context that then influences how we respond to moving the spine now. But I think it is one of the most fundamental things that all of us need to be doing. And I think back to the disc herniation topic as well, everyone so fearful of being told they have a disc herniation.
Mm-hmm.
We all have disc herniations. You get an MRI, I have an MRI, they're both going to come back with disc herniations. It's a natural part of aging. Some present with pain, some don't.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I don't even like. I don't diagnose anymore because I work under a rehab coaching approach, but also I don't, even if I were working under my license, I wouldn't give anybody a diagnosis, because we live in a world where we identify by it and then we are fearful of it and we just avoid movement as a whole.
Ooh, mic drop. That's so true. That really is so true, because you get this diagnosis and you're like, this is who I am, or this is what it is. But then it's like, you can't work around it. And then you make that like a part of your identity. So yeah, that's really interesting that you say that.
Yeah. I even had, it's funny, I had somebody, a one-on-one client of mine that I started with quite a while ago now. I remember our first call and she told me, oh, like I've patellofemoral pain, tendonitis, blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, I always like to understand when someone gives me a diagnosis. I'm like, okay, tell me, where'd you get that from? Who told you that?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, I was told that 6 years ago. Oh, are you still in pain? No. Okay, so you are your injury and you remain that way.
Yeah.
There is so much attachment that people take to a diagnosis that I just think they're not helpful at all. And I think at the end of the day too, a diagnosis doesn't really change the way in which we treat people. It helps to understand structurally what may and truthfully may be going on, because everything is a hypothesis.
Of course.
But we identify the way in which you treat someone by the way in which you move. And that doesn't demand a diagnosis to understand what it is we have to do.
Is there any movement that is more risk than reward?
I'm so anti the word risk.
Okay.
I don't believe in any movement being risky. But what I will say is we can deem an exercise as risky because it caused an injury. But the reason that injury appeared is because you weren't prepared or didn't have the capacity for what that movement demanded. So the risk lies rather in your baseline than the movement itself. So I know, for example, let's say deadlifts are the classic risky movement.
Of course.
I wouldn't say that they are risky, but they are risky for someone that doesn't know how to hinge properly.
Yeah.
They are risky for someone that has never moved that sort of load before. But is the risk in the movement, or is the risk in the person and their baseline and their capacity? And my argument would be that it's in the person.
Yeah. So interesting. I love this already. Yeah.
And I think it's too, I never want to put fear towards movement, because movement heals.
Of course.
Movement is so healing in every aspect. And I would never want to deem one thing as risky or fearful, because at the end of the day, that could be the thing that could get them out of the pain that they're currently in.
You work with a lot of intermediate to advanced athletes like myself.
Yeah.
However, I work with a little bit more of the general population. I would say, like, for the most part, people are really scared of deadlifting or of squatting or something, because they saw someone get injured, or one time something happens and they have this fear around that within their bodies. How can we get them to like either push past that fear, get a little bit uncomfortable, but also just like get in there and try?
We need to break things down.
Yeah.
If there is something, a specific movement that is terrifying for somebody, how can we regress that? And I think having the skill of regressing beyond the regression we know is something very helpful when you're dealing with people like that. So for somebody that, let's say they are very fearful of deadlifts.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do a bodyweight hinge.
Yeah.
They probably cannot associate that that is the underlying fundamental to deadlift. So let's get them confident in a hinge position first.
Yeah.
Then from there, I typically find dumbbells are usually the entryway into other things. So getting them getting them doing a hinge pattern with dumbbells. And I think it's through that slow progression and exposure that they then realize, oh, I'm actually doing it. And then you get them doing what a conventional dead, and suddenly it's very familiar to them, and that fear is gone. But regression, I would say, is a very, very important skill, particularly with that sort of population.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting too, because I would say for the most part, the clients that I've worked with or people I've worked with over the last decade or so, they never actually get injured in the gym. It's always out of the gym. And because of their strength background or lack of, that's why the injury maybe takes a little bit longer to heal than others. So someone like is feeling healthy, feeling pretty good. What are some exercises they could do that maybe are lacking in their program overall, or wanting to just be a healthier individual overall besides a Copenhagen?
I would say my number one exercise that I give everybody, actually there's a few of them, but first one, eccentric step down.
Okay.
So an eccentric step down is you step up onto a box, but the focus is rather the lowering portion on one leg.
Okay.
That big demand for hip stability. And I think if you watch anybody do a step up, they're probably grabbing a shit ton of load.
Yeah.
And they're using their back leg to push them up onto the box, and then they're dropping back down, totally defeating the purpose of building hip stability.
Yeah.
So the focus of this movement is rather you stand onto the box, come onto one leg, and you lower as slowly as you can for the entire range. And you'll find that you'll get people into that position, they get halfway down, and they drop because they lack that hip stability through that lower end range, because usually we bounce out of a lot of our reps.
Right.
So that is one that I love giving to people. You start on a really low box.
Yeah.
It's very humbling to a lot.
Yeah.
And then you slowly build up that height to which they can control for full range. And I think that's, an essential to so many programs.
Cool. What's the other couple that you said?
A powell raise for rear delts. So,
yeah. I was like,
am I pronouncing that incorrectly?
No.
Okay.
I was trying to, I was like, what is that movement? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So powell raises, I actually like to perform it in a side plank position. So you're getting like bang for your buck here. We're getting frontal plane, hip abductor movement, advanced. Stability, core, advanced. That's what the advanced athletes do. And then so we're on our side. We have a dumbbell out in front of us, pinky up to the sky, and then we're lifting it up and lowering it slowly. Yeah. So training that rear delt, again, we do a whole lot of anterior flexion-based movement with the shoulder and not enough at the back. And a big thing that I see in a lot of athletes, anybody really that comes from with shoulder pain, is they're jacked at the front, nothing at the back.
Okay.
And if we have any sort of asymmetry in strength, then obviously pain's going to arise.
Okay. So rear delts, what are maybe some other exercises we could throw in there too? Do you like a face pull?
Love a face pull.
Yeah.
So pro face pull. I think.
Pro face pull.
So pro face pull. Add that one in. And I say that because we do a lot of like lat based pulls.
Yeah.
Not enough mid-back type of strengthening. Face pull is also fantastic for everyone that's sitting down on a daily basis with rounded shoulders looking at a computer all day.
Yeah.
We need that pulling to pull ourselves back.
Yeah.
And I think with the face pull too, it's a great movement to which we can, like I mentioned before, a lot of us will pull our shoulder blades back and then we'll pull, but allow those shoulder blades to move with you as well. So you're getting length through those rhomboids and lengthening out that mid-back as well.
Okay. Reverse fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other, I think the other thing that happens, especially in like those type of movements, if people like might feel their traps more than their rear delts. So any like cues we could give there?
Very common to hear my traps feel really tight, and this comes back to regression. And we truthfully have to regress it quite far a lot of the time. And that could look like lying on your belly, arms out in a Y position, pull shoulder blade down and just lift the arm.
Okay.
What do you feel? Do you feel traps on there? No. Okay, great. That's as far as we're going to go today.
Got it.
And then we just do isometric holds. Then once we can isometrically hold it, let's do it for reps.
Yeah.
Okay, we can do it for reps. Let's get into 4-point kneeling now and do it for reps. That feel fine? Great. Let's load it. Okay, now that we've got better engagement of our mid-back, let's go back to that exercise. How does it feel now? And that's not a one-session thing. That's a weeks, maybe months situation.
Yeah.
But again, really stripping it back to, okay, upper traps are taking over in a exercise that I don't want upper traps to be working. I want mid-back to be working. Okay, that probably tells me that mid-back isn't strong enough to withstand the force right now. So how can I regress it to a point where mid-back is doing the work?
Yeah.
Once we're feeling comfortable there, then reintroduce.
I mean, if you've learned anything from this conversation so far, there's always regressions. Like every movement we've talked about so far, you've given us 3 or 4 like regressions to go back to.
Yeah.
And then build your way back up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think too, everybody sees the advanced stuff and the cool stuff, and that's what they want to do.
Yep.
You got to humble yourself, and myself included.
Of course. Same.
I mean, I am constantly humbling myself and doing the basic of all basic things.
Yeah.
And that is truly what we need to do if we want to move appropriately and load appropriately with the movements that we're doing in our daily sessions.
Okay. So we've got low back pain is like the top thing that you're seeing. What else would you say that you're seeing more of? I feel like we've talked about shoulder.
I would say knees.
Knees. Okay. So
knees are coming up a lot.
Let's talk about the knees.
Knees are hard.
Yeah.
I guess everything's hard because there's so many variables to it.
Yeah.
What I would say to knees is that the knee has the ankle and the hip above and below.
Mm-hmm.
The knee doesn't do a whole lot of movement beyond flex and extend. So its role is predominantly in absorbing and transferring force. It's either coming from above and below. So I'm finding a lot with knees is that the problem actually stems from the ankle or the hip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding hip specifically, again, back to hip stability.
Yeah.
Again, it's the central point of our body. So if we can fix that, then we can disperse the effects elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I'm finding that a lot of knee pain, if we address the hips, we do see a change. And that is because we are reducing the load coming through the knee by improving capacity elsewhere.
Okay. So how, besides some of the hip stability thing, is there any other thing that you would suggest maybe people do or test with that?
So to test, I would do the eccentric step down.
Yeah.
Get onto a tall box and see how far can you control that, or do you quite literally bend the knee and then you drop because you can't control it?
Yeah.
Probably got a lot of work to do.
Okay.
Any sort of unilateral movement, is that more difficult for you? Okay, let's do that more.
Okay.
But I would say too, a big thing with stability, one, stability comes when we're loading unilaterally, but two, what is on the feet when we're doing them? Big mistake that I see with people is training stability, training unilateral work, training lifts in big chunky shoes.
Yeah.
If we destroy the point at which is absorbing the force, then the force is destroyed for the rest of the kinetic chain.
Yeah.
So I would say, if you can in your gym, get your feet barefoot. If you can't, get flat shoes. And if you're wearing chunky shoes, then I would say get them off even if you can't take them off in that gym.
Do it anyway.
Just do it.
What are some of your favorite flat shoes?
Vivo Barefoot.
Oh, the ones I'm wearing right now.
Vivo Barefoot would be my number one.
Yeah, I'm a big barefoot, I just like to train without shoes on at all. But like if you are in a space that you have to wear shoes at the gym, I highly recommend that too.
Yeah. And then even more simply, Vans. They're flat. Converse. Anything with a solid base that doesn't have a heel lift and doesn't have a whole lot of cushion.
What about, would you do any supported knee things, like with a band around your knee and maybe do some lunges or any sort of stability drills there? Is that helpful?
I guess it comes down to the why.
Yeah.
So a band is helpful in many different ways and very much dependent on the placement. So we can have a band position in the front of us.
Yeah.
Behind our knee, to which we're training terminal knee extension.
Right.
So activating the quads as we hit hip extension, as we hit knee and hip extension. Now we can also position the band to, if I'm speaking about my left leg, to the right of me, and then I'm then training hip abduction.
Right.
So I'm looking at hip stability from the abductors, or I can position it from to the left of me, and then I'm training hip adduction and looking at training the groin.
Yeah.
So there's many different ways that we could utilize it. Truthfully, it wouldn't be my go-to.
Okay.
I don't find myself pulling in bands at the knee a whole lot. I kind of go straight to the hip and work on side planks, side plank hip abduction, and work directly at the strength of the hip and then integrate it into like full lower body movements.
You love the side plank.
Do love a side plank.
I feel like I need to add more. And
Nobody does them.
Just talking about this, I'm like, okay, Copenhagen side planks are on the schedule.
Because we all love a front plank. We all love a...
I don't.
I mean, I don't. But it's what we see everybody doing.
Exactly.
Or lying on their back crunching a whole lot.
Yeah.
The side of us gets no love or attention.
Yeah. I also love how rotational you are. And I know we've talked about that a little bit, but any other places they could potentially add in rotation, and should it be a full body thing? Should it just be like within your trunk? Like where can we add that in more?
So I guess we can add it in at each joint isolated. So let's look at the hips. We can do a hip airplane.
Yeah.
absolute favorite of mine.
Yeah.
That's always my go-to for hip rotation. Then we have spinal rotation, which we've spoken to quite a lot.
Right.
Then we have shoulder rotation, which very basically we could do dumbbell internal external rotations, and then we can then progress to things like Turkish get-ups.
Yep.
Or we could then look at full body things, and that's when we start to look at fascial slings. Fascial slings is basically the integration of the whole body and moving it as one, and it involves a whole lot of rotation. So if you were to look up anterior, posterior oblique fascial slings, you'll come to see the integration of that system and how we can train it, and you'll see that rotation is a big part of that.
Where does mobility come into play? Mobility, and then there's like the strength training and stability, and how do we do all these together?
Right. So I think there's this big thing about, I don't do enough mobility. I personally don't stretch. I don't do a mobility routine, and I don't prescribe it to anybody. And now that is because it is integrated within my sessions. And what I mean by that is, for lasting mobility, we need load. So we load our movements through range. Like my favorite hamstring, quote unquote, stretch is an RDL. If someone comes with tight hamstrings, I'm going to load you into an RDL. I'm going to get you holding end range for 3 seconds, isometrically hold the bottom, and start working our way down through length there.
Yeah.
It's no additional stretch. It's no additional chore. It's no additional routine. It's just altering the way in which you train to increase length of a muscle. So let's take eccentric step downs are great for quad length because we're getting so much knee flexion as well.
Yeah.
So increasing the height of the box. There, we're strengthening, but also doing mobility at the same time.
Right.
So I'm a big believer in mobility being embedded into your strength, and just working on increasing range as a means to stretch.
And just like we've mentioned, like throughout this, like there's progressions for all of them too. Like, for example, you'd mentioned the step ups with like people do super heavy weights. I'm a big proponent of like, high step up, no weight.
Yep.
Or, make your way up to that. And you can do that with like any of these exercises too. Like,
exactly.
I had another question for you here, and then I just forgot where I was going.
We love losing our train of thought.
Oh yeah, like you said stretching, so I wanted to go there. Why no stretching?
Stretching is... So I think there's this big misconception with stretching in that people think that, let's say, stretching, massaging, anything of the likes is physically stretching or lengthening the muscle in the same way that we'd imagine pin rolling dough. That stimulus of the pin roller is lengthening or stretching out the dough, just like we think that massaging is stretching out the length of the muscle.
Yeah.
That is not what's happening. What is happening is any input, that being stretching, that being massage gun, foam roller, massage itself, is all a stimulus. A stimulus to which then says to our body and sends a message up to our brain for the brain to then respond and give you an outcome. And what is happening is our muscles live in a state of tension, usually because there is an element of protection that is needed. So the body is saying, I don't feel safe there. I'm going to protect, and by protecting it tensions. Stretching or any sort of stimulus that we then put to that area of the body then tells the brain you can relax. And it's the brain that then signals you can relax. It's not us physically molding our way out of tension.
So if that's the case, why are you doing some massage work and stuff in PT sessions?
It's all a temporary fix that gives you so there's 2 elements to it. There is an element of it where it's getting you buy-in. The person in front of you is trusting you because you are giving them an immediate change. But 2, providing that immediate change then reduces fear. People then go, I do feel okay. And it also gives you a window of opportunity to train things that maybe they wouldn't be able to train. Yeah. Is it fixing your problem? No. But is it a tool that you could utilize to get you closer to where you want to be faster? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not the fix.
So you mentioned foam rollers, the Theragun, Normatec boots, stuff like that. This all just like quick relief, but doesn't do that much for you.
Correct. All temporary fixes.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So I shouldn't spend the $500 on the Normatec boots.
I mean, they feel good, so go for it.
But my husband's like, we have some neighbors that we keep using them from, and he's like, we should just, and I was like, so it's like stupid, like to me, I think, but it is that like quick, like oh, that
Yeah.
feels good immediately.
It's funny the amount of times people come to me and like, you should see this new gadget that I got. Or they like have a look at this and they pull out this big basket of all these, I don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
Hip stretching things, neck stretching things. They're like, this fixed my pain. I'm like, I don't think it did. I think it gave you the ability to believe you could get better. And then it was that change in mentality that you actually got better from.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't have any of these tools at home. I have a foam roller that truthfully I don't really use at all. And it is just because I know that I can utilize other things, e.g. my strength sessions, to achieve the same outcome.
Yeah. Glute activation. I can't activate my glutes. What does that mean? I'm not saying I can't, but I hear that. People will be like, yeah, how do I activate? They're turned off.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Well, one, they're not turned off, because if they were turned off, you'd be folded in half and you wouldn't be standing. But I do empathize with the struggle of quote unquote feeling your glutes.
Yeah.
Now, why? Again, so many different reasons. A common one that I would say is a lot of us lack hip extension. So if we can't get into hip extension, then we can't physically fully contract our glutes. We're stuck with tight tension at the front.
Yeah.
So rather than getting into all the the glute activation type of drills first, I'd say, okay, let's lengthen the front of your hips, get you into full hip extension, then let's try and get you doing glute activation stuff. So couch stretch is a really great go-to for me, particularly if I'm doing hip thrusts and I'm really struggling to hit end range. I'll go into a couch stretch that is just lengthening the front of the hips, come back into it. And then from there, I'm finding, okay, I've got better range, and then I'm typically feeling my glutes. Now, if I'm still not feeling my glutes, then I'm going to go into something that typically involves rotation.
Yeah.
Hip airplane, always a go-to for me. Also love a DNS star. I don't know if that's something you're familiar with.
DNS star,
Best to Google. Me explaining wouldn't make a whole lot of sense, but again, side plank position.
Love it.
But what we're doing is we're in a side plank position supported by the bottom knee, and the top arm and leg are reaching away from one another. So top arm is reaching forward, back leg is reaching back, and then we're coming back up into a cross connect position. So we're almost folding forward over that bottom hip, falling into internal rotation. Then as we come up and cross connect, we're coming into contracted external rotation while we're training abduction. Just a great way to like multi-directionally hit the hip, wake it up, and then transfer it into lifts.
So you're saying wake it up, so that can be sleeping.
Metaphorically.
Oh man, that's funny. No, because it is true. Like sometimes it is hard for people to just find that even mind muscle connection. And if we're just going straight into like the banded knee lateral walks, we're not actually getting to that root problem again.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, like banded knee lateral walks is working hip abduction. That's a very small piece to the puzzle.
Right.
And I think too, like everyone chases this burning feeling that isn't really necessary. Like, do I feel my glutes in my squats? Not really.
Yeah.
Does that mean they're not working? No.
Yeah.
Not at all. Is there an element of having better body awareness of your glutes contracting that could then play a better role in your lifts? Absolutely.
Right.
Personally, I know when I do and don't feel it, and know that regardless they're working. But yeah, I'd say a better integration for people that struggle to feel their glutes would be something that involves rotation rather than just abduction banded work.
Would you say for the most part, people that are more sedentary say that to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're sitting on their sleeping glutes
right,
all day.
They're sleeping glutes that aren't awake.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. And I think it is true in the sense that if you're sitting in a constantly hip flex position, we're sitting in a lengthened glute position all day, that it is not used to contracting. It is used to being in a lengthened position. So I do think there is truth to that statement, to that concept. But I think there's so much more to it as well.
Yeah. And I think there's also, and I think you could speak on this too, there's so much to like, yes, you can go in the gym and perform your workouts, but if you are sitting all day long, that really doesn't get you, the results that you're really looking for. So what do you usually tell people like throughout the day if they're at a 9 to 5 or something like that?
You need to get up and move every few hours.
And what are they doing?
I would say, like, rather than sitting at your computer back-to-back meetings, one, you need to prioritize you and your health. There are so many people that just say, oh, I just can't. Like, I don't have enough time. I'm sitting through my lunch breaks, having to catch up on work. I'm like, well, you put in work before you. We do have an hour of our day to, I don't know what Americans legally give people for their lunch breaks.
30 minutes, maybe. Yeah.
But break that up. If you can, break that up to 15-minute increments throughout your day and go for a walk.
Yeah.
Get up on your feet, go for a walk, at least integrate a standing desk and go up from standing to sitting.
Yeah.
And if you can, every few hours, 15-minute walk.
Yeah. So this is where I would be like, okay, well, throw in some mobility here. Maybe do some ankle circles, hip movements.
I mean, there's no harm in it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Just like
it's movement.
get in the Copenhagen plank.
Get a Copenhagen plank, side plank, Bulgarian split squat.
Yeah. Do all your favorites just like throughout the day, and it'll break up your day more.
Any movement is good movement.
I totally agree.
Any movement is good movement.
Yeah.
So I am very pro any suggestion that isn't sitting.
And honestly, like I would always suggest like throw it on your calendar, try not to block over it. Like it's so important to actually move throughout the day, because if you're sitting for 8 hours and then you go to the gym, it's like gonna feel way harder, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, that doesn't serve you well at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, frequent movement. I'm a big advocate for anyone that's working from home. Get up and move every few hours, whatever that may look like. For me, that's a 15-minute walk. I encourage people, if you're taking meetings with your camera off, put your AirPods in and go for a walk and take the meeting.
Yeah.
If you're making calls, take the call while you're walking. So whenever I had someone that wanted to call me, I'd say, give me 5 minutes. I'd put on my shoes, I'd go outside, and then I'd say, call me.
Yeah.
It's just ways to which I can continue working, but working in a way that I'm moving.
Yeah. Amazing. Gosh, we have so many nuggets of information in this podcast. What can we leave someone with? Actionable thing besides the Copenhagen plank, the Bulgarian split squats, and the step down? What are just some like quick actionable steps? It could be lifestyle, fitness, anything related to keeping your body healthy and pain-free.
Prioritize sleep.
Yeah.
Number one thing.
Amazing.
So underrated. Prioritize sleep 7 to 8 hours every night. And if you're not getting that, change your daily habits. Go to bed earlier, wake up later, do whatever you have to do to get those hours of sleep, because that then drives so much that I see clinically with pain. Get sleep, move frequently, and know that movement truly is medicine. Avoiding movement, being fearful of movement is not going to get you to where you need to be. Recognizing that movement is the driver of getting you to whatever goal it is that you're seeking.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you online on your awesome Instagram page?
They can find me on Instagram, Tayla Cannon Physio, or athleticrebuild.net as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate you being here.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Yay.
Amazing.